Welcome back. I'm Representative Patricia Morgan, and I have with me today as our guest Mike Stenhouse, who is the CEO for the Center of Freedom and Prosperity, which is a think tank that is a free market, proponent of free market principles, which is, I think, what makes America great.
We think so.
And we're trying to get back to there because it's been chipped away a lot in the last many decades. You have started a new index, and I just love this. There is no joy in Mudville in Rhode Island. What's that mean? JOI, Jobs and Opportunity Index.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, it's a new index that our center has created with some collaboration with local and national economists and budget experts, because we just don't believe that the regularly cited monthly unemployment rate really does a good job in providing you and other lawmakers with the information you need to craft public policy. And the case in point right now, the Rhode Island unemployment rate has been going down.
Yep.
We've actually even been closing the gap among national states and among New England neighbors.
5.4% sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
It sounds good, but it doesn't. It's a very, very narrow snapshot of just a single point in time of the job situation, which, by the way, if the labor force goes down, also tends to reduce the unemployment rate, which is an inverse relationship.
Let's just talk about that. We have unemployment, but if somebody stops getting the unemployment benefit, they're all of a sudden considered employed, or they're not in the unemployment anymore because they're not getting a check.
Take last, I think it was October and November, or November and December. The number of people working in Rhode Island went down. That's bad, right?
Sure.
The number of people looking for work means they gave up, they were fed up with, that also went down. That's bad, right?
So the unemployment.
But the unemployment rate went down, which is good. So how can two bads produce a good? See, that's the problem we have with the way the unemployment rate is calculated. So we decided to take a broader look.
Before you go on,
yep.
Somebody can go and get a job, but it's a part-time job or it's a per diem job, and they leave the unemployment index as well.
Yeah, we call that underemployed. So if somebody's working part-time who wants to work full-time, or they're working at a $30,000 job when when they're qualified to work at a $50,000 a year job, that's called underemployed, and the regular unemployment rate doesn't adequately account for that. So our new index will bring those two factors and others into the equation, so that you can have, and all other lawmakers in the public can have a better look at what's really going on. So just to finish the thought, so while our unemployment rate is going down and we're closing the gap nationally, when it comes to our index, guess what? We're ranked 48th in the nation, and
48th, which is not good.
And the gap is widening. It's getting worse among New England states and nationals compared to them.
And you're basically saying we've lost jobs, so fewer people are employed.
Relatively so.
Right. That some of the people who are employed are in part-time jobs or lesser paying jobs than they had before. Right. That's not good either. Yep. Right? And that people have just given up because they can't find a good job.
Yep. So that's just looking at one of the three factors that makes up this Jobs and Opportunity Index, is that broader look at employment, right? And that's the one, and in that one sub-factor, we're also 48th in the nation.
Which is pretty low.
Right. In our unemployment rate, we're 34th. So again, you can see why we're saying the unemployment rate just isn't adequate.
It gives an inaccurate picture.
It does.
But, you know, just talking with people, my constituents, they're not feeling comfortable.
No, and that's our point.
So there is stress in families. One of the statistics that I think is really telling is that the average family income has gone down 12% since 2008. That's not good for families.
While taxes have gone up.
While
taxes have gone up. And that's our third factor. So I'll skip ahead to our third factor, which we call...
the prosperity factor?
Right. So we measure personal income you get from salaries and rent and dividends and interest and all that. And we compare that number to the total amount of federal, state, and local taxes collected. And again, Rhode Island does poor. We rank 46 in that. So that means a large percentage of our income, whether it's going up or down, is going to pay taxes.
Yeah.
That's not good. Okay? So that's the third factor that makes up the index here.
Let me just interject here. You know what Tax Freedom Day is?
Yep.
Okay, that's the day when you are no longer working to pay taxes.
Is that like May 1st now or something?
It's April 28th.
Okay, close.
So in effect, we're working a third
Yep.
of the year to pay taxes.
That's right.
Federal, state, local taxes, a third of the year. And I keep saying, what if it was only a fourth of the year?
Right.
What would families do if they had a whole nother month of income that they could spend on themselves, on their children, on their houses?
Yep.
What a difference it would make.
So now we've discussed two of the three factors. Again,
We're losing ground.
Yep, the first factor looks at a broader look of employment. The third factor looks at the relative size of personal income versus government taxes. The second factor, which we call the freedom factor, looks at the number of people working and the number of jobs based on our state compared to the number of people on public assistance.
All right,
Whether
so-
welfare, SNAP, or, a TANF, or whatever it is, Medicare. Medicaid.
Not Medicare.
No, not Medicare. So again, so we believe these three factors that take a broader look at employment and that basically looks at the relative size of the private sector versus the government sector and personal income versus government taxation. Those three things can paint a real broader picture for really what's going on with our family well-being.
So let me just talk about the freedom factor again. So people working versus people who are getting welfare assistance
Yep.
in some way.
Yep.
But you're not counting Social Security or anything
No,
like that?
no.
Okay, so it's just people who are of working age but aren't
Yeah,
versus people who are.
who are working.
And we're 39th.
We're 39th. It's one of the factors, 39th is our best of the three, but that factor in recent years, we're moving
We're
away
losing
from the norm.
ground.
We're losing ground on that
So-
factor faster than anyone, which means a lot more people going on welfare rolls. And we predicted that with the UHIP, that was part of the Health Source Rhode Island, and just the overall progressive approach from Governor Chafee and Governor Raimondo to try to get more and more people onto public assistance. I think that's what's reflected in that factor.
So is it?
It's both. It's both.
So people not having jobs as well as people going on assistance. And I guess people who are of working age and can't find a job do go on public assistance.
Yeah,
So
there's a little
they
bit of
work
a
together.
connection there.
Yeah.
And we're
losing ground there.
Yeah, and we're like third worst in the nation as far as recovered the number of people working since the pre-recession days.
Yeah, we haven't gotten back all the
No,
jobs we
no,
lost.
We're third worst in the nation on that. Converse that with like a right-to-work state like Michigan, which used to be last in, has now shot up, and they've gone way past us. So right-to-work, you can see the immediate effect that's had on jobs in that economy.
All right, so you have the job outlook factor, you have the freedom factor and the prosperity factor, and they all come together in this JOI, which is called
The Jobs
Jobs and Opportunity Index. And is there an overall
Yep.
number for the jobs and opportunity?
Yep, so this produces a scale from 0 to 100. Right now, Rhode Island has a 17.4, which ranks 48th in the nation. I think New
not good.
Hampshire might be number 1 or number 2, if I recall.
New Hampshire is at the top.
They are, right up the road. There are some good policies and a model we can follow if we want to have jobs and prosperity in our state for our families.
All right, and that's what we really do want. We don't want people on welfare. I think people on welfare don't want to be on welfare.
I agree.
They want jobs.
I agree.
They want to be able to catch the American dream, right?
But the government
And-
wants their votes.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That's the difference. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming and sharing this with the folks. And I hope you come back next week. We have more to say.
Thank you.